Okay, let's jump right in. We're about to learn a language that, believe it or not, is becoming essential in pretty much every industry out there. And no, it's not code, but by 2026, being fluent in it could seriously define your career.
So let me ask you straight up, do you speak sustainability? It might sound a little abstract right now, but I promise you it's becoming one of the most practical questions you'll need to answer. Because really soon, this stuff is no longer going to be just some niche jargon for experts. It's the new global professional standard. Doesn't matter if you're in a job interview, a boardroom, or pitching a client. This vocabulary is going to be the baseline for being taken seriously.
And that's exactly what we're going to do today. We're not just going to list off some definitions. Nope. We are building your eco-fluency toolkit with 5 key phrases. Think of this as your crash course to mastering the conversation.
All right, let's dive into part 1 of our toolkit. Because before we can even begin to talk about solutions, we've got to understand how we measure the problem in the first place, right?
So our first term is carbon footprint. This is ground zero. It's the baseline. It's basically the total sum of greenhouse gases that get pumped out because of our actions. Anything from a huge company's supply chain all the way down to your drive to work. Simply put, it's what we add.
And here's how you'll hear it used out in the wild. A statement like this, it's a company signaling, hey, we see our impact and we're actually doing something to shrink it. So the key takeaway is always this, a smaller footprint means a bigger step in the right direction. So, okay, if the carbon footprint is the problem, what's the end game? Well, that brings us to our next term, net zero. Now, this doesn't mean we stop all emissions completely. That's not realistic. Instead, it's all about finding balance. It's a state where, for every bit of carbon we put out, we pull an equal amount back in. That's the ultimate goal.
And this lays it out perfectly. On one side, you've got the carbon footprint. That's what we produce, the weight of our impact. And on the other side, you've got net zero, the big, ambitious goal of balancing the scales. You can see right here the whole journey in a nutshell, from measuring the issue to achieving the solution.
All right, let's shift gears. Now that we get the goal, let's look at the systems designed to actually get us there. And, just as important, how to tell the difference between real change and, well, just clever marketing.
This right here, this is the ideal system, the circular economy. It's a total rethink of that old take, make, and toss model we're so used to. A circular economy is all about keeping stuff, materials, resources, in a constant loop. You use it, you repair it, you reuse it. It's like nature's recycling program, but for our whole world. The idea is to literally design waste out of the picture from the very start.
It sounds incredible, right? A total game changer. But with so many companies now claiming they're sustainable or circular, it makes you wonder, doesn't it? How do we know who's for real?
And that leads us to this super important term, greenwashing. This is what happens when a company's marketing budget for saying they're green is way bigger than their budget for actually being green. It's the illusion of progress without any of the substance. Knowing this word is basically your shield against misinformation.
But hey, here's the good news. People are getting smarter about this. We're all developing a sharper eye for what's authentic and what's not. The ability to spot greenwashing isn't just a consumer skill anymore. It's a core competency for any professional who wants to stay ahead of the curve. Okay, so we have our goal, net zero, and we have our ideal system, the circular economy. But what powers it all? What's the engine that makes this whole sustainable future run? And that engine runs on anything and everything renewable. It's pretty simple. It's energy from a source that doesn't run out when you use it. It just keeps on coming. This is the absolute bedrock of this whole new structure. Let's be real, without a massive worldwide shift to renewable energy, things like net zero, they're just not going to happen.
And here are the heavy hitters, the ones leading the charge. You've got solar, wind, and hydropower. They're the big 3. Each one taps into a powerful, basically endless natural force to give us clean energy. These are the technologies that are going to future-proof our entire global power grid.
Okay, time to bring it all together and pack our toolkit. These 5 phrases we've talked about, they're not just random words. They are deeply connected ideas that tell a full story about where we need to go.
And here it is, your 5-step guide to eco-fluency. It goes like this. First, you have to measure the problem, and that's the carbon footprint. Second, you set the ultimate goal, which is to aim for net zero. Third, you design a better system to get there, a circular economy. Fourth, you've got to stay sharp and beware of greenwashing. And finally, you power that whole transformation with renewables. See how it all just locks together? It's a roadmap.
So what's the bottom line here?
Mastering this language, it does a lot more than just keep you in the loop. It signals that you are a strategic, forward-thinking professional, someone who gets the fundamental shifts happening in the world today.
So, we'll leave you with this thought. You now have the vocabulary, you have the toolkit for what is truly one of the most important conversations of our time. So,